Hey guys, in this video we will be going through the NA Media Tour Day 1 live Q&A session. I had the privilege to finally attend a media tour and I thank Square Enix and the Final Fantasy XIV team for that. Yay, we did it! Woo! Not everyone who attended had a chance to get an exclusive interview with Yoshida-san himself, so they had a Q&A session at the end of the day for everyone else. Yoshida-san and the Final Fantasy XIV team seemed to pick out the question from the streamers camp this time, and I'm so happy they did. Because as far as I know, none of the content creators in day 1 got an exclusive interview with him. So at least we got something nice. I knew who asked some of these questions because we pre-planned our questions so we don't end up asking the same questions. Now without further ado, let's get into the few questions he picked and answered. Question number 1, which is asked by me. Are there any examples of improved reward as shown in previous PLL and also today's presentation? Is it more tombstone cap over 7.x patches? Is it more gear drops from 8-man or 24-man raids or existing contents? Or is it simply just more rewards, for example cosmetic purposes, minion and mounts? For this question, he said that there's 2 parts he want to address. The first part is very straightforward and he wants to get this out of the way first. There will be no tombstone cap increase. Second part, he wants to improve the rewards on the current and even new contents like Criterion, where the biggest feedbacks are that the rewards are lacking and not what the players want. They didn't have resources back then to add more rewards in those content during that time, and players felt that those content were very unfulfilling. So this time, moving forward, they want to improve rewards on those newer contents, giving them more items. It doesn't just mean minions and mounts, etc. There will be gear, and they will incorporate more rewards into this content. They will also be releasing content that's different from current batch of content that we have. Rewards from this content will be more about filling in the gaps, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we will get max item level gears. These additional rewards will be mainly filling in the gap that will raise our average item level instead. He said that he will review more of such rewards in 7.1 onwards because some of these rewards come from new contents that he said that is different from existing content. He also said that rest assured, we will definitely be expected to see an increased number of gears as rewards. He looked right at me and said, "Is this answer okay? Did I answer your question?" And I just gave him 2 thumbs up. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure he knew who are asking these questions. Question number 2, which is asked by Lamatot. I would like to know if there are plans to create a central party finder since many raiders DC travel to Aether for NA if they want to find groups. We could even tie in the Oceanic region as well. This leaves players without access to FC buffs, mail, retainers, etc. while they are still trying to fill groups. Also, since we are getting many graphical and system updates in Dawntrail, are there plans for a modernized friend list similar to Blizzard's Battle.net or Steam Friends? Yoshida-san said that they already received massive requests about this and knew about this feedback for cross-DC, which I think also includes cross-region. They had discussion among themselves about this for a while. However, traveling between data center is physical, which I also assume that when he say this, he also mean that even for the same region data center, it is also physical. So there is a special separate system that has to be implemented before they can allow PFing or DFing across the different data centers. If they have a system to allow this, it would actually solve a lot of problems that the players are currently facing. It would also be nice to have a separate central data center to allow for all of these activities like PFing, DFing, etc. But to implement this system, it would take them about 2 to 3 years. He thinks that it is a lot of work at the moment and also will result in a lot of wait time. Therefore, right now they are considering if there is any other innovative ways to allow for this system. Yoshi P also said that they can do it right now, but the team is more focused on spending those resources for developing 7.0 onward stuff. Once the 7.x series settles down, they will look more into this and solve this problem. They are not trying to deflect this, but they are taking their time on this. Next, about the friend list. They know about the problems about the friend list, but blacklist was actually way more feedback to change from the community. Therefore, at the moment, they didn't do much for friend list first, but they are more focused on the blacklist first. Once the blacklist functionality and the improvements are all done, they will then address the friend list problems in the near future. Yoshi P also said that systems like Battle.net and Steam Friends are very, very good. However, it is a system that an entire company made for all of their games. Final Fantasy XIV is just a team and a single game compared to them, but this also shows how much Final Fantasy XIV can improve on and can learn from these bigger companies with bigger systems. Question number 3, which is asked by Zepla. In terms of new player experience, can we see more skills becoming available to players at low levels, as has been done in the past, to refresh that starting experience? Yoshida-san said that in Dawntrail, the level cap is raised to 100, so they already had all the job skills and traits all set and how to distribute them across all 100 levels. Therefore, they try to maintain the balance of the levels by making sure that these skills and traits are spread out properly. They do, however, not sure if they did enough for lower levels, if they are being very honest. If there's enough feedback about lower levels having the need to have more skills allocated in the official forums, for example, they will definitely look into it. Yoshida-san also thinks that it is always good to strike the balance because this is an RPG game. You will gain level and you will want to learn new skills, even though if it's a passive skill. That said, of course, they can add more actions in lower level, but if there's too much actions at lower level, then there will be too much to do and new players might not be able to cope. Also, if you learn everything at low level, then what will happen at higher level? Then what becomes the purpose of level up? They can't always just add in new skills and more skills. At the moment in Dawntrail, we will be going to level 100, and they don't want to start to make players feel that they need to do a level squish already right now to, for example, level 50. Yoshida-san hope that we understand how things has to be moved behind the scene to be the way it is at the moment, where they add actions to certain level. However, if anybody got a good idea, Square Enix and the Final Fantasy XIV team would love to hear from you. It is, however, their job at the end of the day, so they will be trying their best, but they would still love to hear from us. Question number 4, I'm not sure who asked this. If you could recommend any quest, job, side content, etc. to complete before Dawntrail, which would you recommend for players really who wants to get into Final Fantasy XIV lore? Zeno wasn't happy when he first saw this question on screen because it has nothing to do with Dawntrail. This Q&A was supposed to be question asked for Dawntrail and the development of Dawntrail, so Zeno wasn't very happy. FP Pong. Yoshida's answer to this question is that if you are really into Final Fantasy XIV lore, shouldn't you have already finished all the quests? He doesn't want to talk too much about this because he do not want to give away too much for people who haven't finished everything lore related. He also asked if people know about the 6.0 Alliance raid. You guys know the myth of Eorzea, and he thinks that there's a lot of interesting lore in there. He also asked if everybody knows the name of all the 14 seats of Convocation. And obviously, as you can see, not everybody knows stuff like this. This is just a couple that he comes up with. So there's a lot that we do not know about. So just go do any of them, go do all of them. But he's not going to give anything more into this question because he wants to avoid spoilers. And oh, Zeno is match! Question number 5. I also have no idea who asked this question. What are some of the inspirations of Dawntrail? Yoshida-san said that the concept of Dawntrail is that it is about a summer vacation for our Warrior of Light. Endwalker is a finale where we went all the way to the edge of the universe, and in 6.x we even went to the 13th, the Void. It reached to the point in Final Fantasy XIV that it seems like players are able to predict what the devs are thinking and doing. So in Dawntrail, it will be a brand new perspective. We will be exploring new areas and embark a new adventure. There will be many new diverse culture we may encounter, and we will see people with different values. It is kind of like a start from scratch, and therefore it will feel like it will start from a vacation. With what's happening in our real world, with news that are sad and news like war and chaos going on, Yoshida-san wants Final Fantasy XIV to connect people who play around the world with different values and bring them together. He hopes to connect everybody, so Dawntrail team is about that. He also mentioned in the past FanFest that he also thinks that our Warrior of Light will not be satisfied with just a summer vacation. Therefore, in 7.0, there will actually be exciting development, battles, and content. However, he cannot say anything more, so please play through 7.0 to find out. Question number 6. This is asked by Whoops. This is a very long one, and the answer that Yoshi P gives is also very long. So just try to keep up with this. as I go into it. With the introduction of Viper, there are now 6 melee DPS. Within these 6 jobs, there are striking, scouting, and maiming left side gear, as well as slaying and aiming right side accessories. As you can imagine, this makes managing gear sets and material melts, specifically for skill speed, very headache. Are there any plans moving forward for either consolidation of this gear set and or material loadouts? Whoop's suggestion to fix this easily would be to have players melt material onto their job stones or a skill tree instead of directly onto gear which is being shared across multiple jobs. So Yoshida-san gave a very long, otherwise maybe seemingly confusing answer at the beginning for sure. He said that this is a very difficult and complicated question to just give a yes or no answer. He says that this can be done, but he is not sure that whether this is the right approach to do this. He feels that what is the most annoying problem at the moment is that as a director, what is the direction he wants to take this question into? How much simplicity should he allow in this game, and can the game systems he planned to implement support this concept of simplicity? He mentioned during his opening presentation on how he wanted to bring a more fulfilling gameplay throughout the 7.X series. So as part of a fulfilling game experience, he's looking for more robust content that players will feel challenged instead. Looking at more recent content that the Final Fantasy XIV team has made, especially battle contents, they all seem too similar to one another. In the past, there are a lot of new unique mechanics where players actually feel challenged. However, the team felt like they have been more conservative lately in battle design. The initial player feedbacks were that the game was too hard, so they went the conservative route instead. With that, the devs felt that they have reached a limit and couldn't do more unique mechanics because of that. Yoshida-san wants to stress a key point where players made lately, about how Target's hitbox was too big. This is where he felt that simplicity went too far and they overdone it. Moving forward, they are trying to shift focus on more robust gameplay. For example, in 8-man content, they want specifically the main tank and off tank to do way different mechanics from everybody else. They also want, for example, one or maybe a few DPS players to completely do a brand new unique mechanics on their own compared to others. Stuff like that are what they are trying to do, and new ways to make mechanics different from past expansions. Yoshida-san also said that he heard comments from Xeno and Arthars about how a lot of the content and jobs lately currently feel kind of similar. Players wonder, why does this job have this and why my job doesn't have that, etc. They were mindful on what players want, and as a dev, they listened, but also needed to be careful to the feedback they received. Feedbacks are very important to them, but they felt that recently they overdid and listened too much to this feedback and made the game boring and kind of predictable. The devs would also love to go into job changes and make sure that they bring in uniqueness to every different job, but they feel that they don't have to do everything now at the same time because they are already planning to make gameplay changes as mentioned earlier. If they do everything at once, it might be too overwhelming to some players and they might feel that the game has become way harder than it should be. Their current goal is to make 7.0 series more satisfying, example better content, and bringing in new and fresh perspective to players tackling this content. With all being said, how does everything he said apply to this question? The main point he's trying to make is that he is trying to go a different route in 7.0, so making everything streamlined and simple is actually what he doesn't want to do right now. So with this proposed system, it will make it more simplified to tune your gear to your job, but will this contribute to the more satisfying gameplay experience? They are very serious to bring adjustment from different jobs, but also very careful with the current decision they are making, which is to make content more robust and unique, rather than doing everything at once. That being said, the development teams feel that they implemented way too many different materials, and it's about time to look into this and how they can improve the material system. It's a very good suggestion, and he will bring back to the team to see what they can do. Question number 7. I also have no idea who asked this. How is Dawntrail shifting away from the single player orientation brought about during Shadowbringers to encourage collaborative play among the Warriors of Light? Yoshida-san started by saying that Zebla said that in her video and in her stream that 6.0 was the worst expansion. Yoshi P said that he watched the stream and was in pain hearing that. He said that not to point out and shame Zebla, but just want to use this opportunity to tell us streamers that they are watching and listening, and they do take our feedback very seriously. Also, it's not just Yoshi P watching the streams. Many Final Fantasy XIV devs also love to watch streams regardless of language, so perhaps we can try to show some mercy on what we say. A lot of them actually can comprehend what we say properly. He then clarified that they are not going to shift away from solo gameplay, and they planned on what they wanted to accomplish, and this was part of the plan. He asked us if we know why gamers in general hesitate to play MMORPG. The answer is because players do not want to play with one another. A lot of them feel pressure to even cooperate with others. All of us content creators and the media present knows how much fun it is to play MMORPG with others. It is a lot of fun even when we play with others casually. However, not everyone feels that way, and he wants to change that hesitation of players not wanting to play with others. With Shadowbringer, they have the advantage of story being very good, so they wanted to use that to bring people into the game. They want to make them enjoy the story without being pressured of working and playing with the others. That's why they implemented more solo experiences to bring people into Final Fantasy XIV. With more people coming into the game, even if they are playing solo and casually initially, they now create a bigger pool of players in Eorzea. That's why they intentionally made Shadowbringer and Endwalker more solo focused to bring and create that pool of players. Now that they have the players coming in from Endwalker to build on their player base, they are finally ready in Dawntrail to introduce the more massive multiplayer gameplay aspect, so players are now ready to try group content and make Final Fantasy XIV a better and more fulfilling MMORPG. Like Zepla said in her broadcast and content, the game is going too much into solo in Shadowbringer and Endwalker. Yoshi P also heard that from every other content creators, and he felt the same, and it is a good indication for them to finally conclude the solo player experience system in Endwalker and can finally move into Dawntrail with more multiplayer aspect gameplay. Lamatau then also asked about improving stuffs like Hall of Novice so these players can step out of solo and transit better into their multiplayer experience. Yoshida-san says not necessary because people will find out that Final Fantasy XIV community is so kind to everyone else, right? If we see Sprouts, and if those Sprouts don't know mechanics, surely we content creators will help them, right? Getting people to start playing the game even if it's solo is more important because now they can transit into that. So Yoshi P asked us content creators to be nicer to the new players. For example, Zeno and me, as he looked right at us. Duty support does make you feel like playing solo, but it's also for practice run so that they can go out and play with others when they have knowledge of the dungeon. That is what he expected players to use those systems for, and that's why he didn't think he needed to implement more systems for these new players. Question number 8. This is asked by Zeno says the Baldo. In the future, are there plans to rehaul the item level sync system? Currently, the calculations are very convoluted and confusing for new players when syncing for various content, including high level rates where the higher eye level gear may not actually be best in slot. For example, this is in part due to material stats not being included in syncing. Zeno's suggestion would be to include material stats in addition to the base stats, but also put a cap on them. Yoshida-san replied that this calculation is very hard and complex. They are aware that with item level getting higher and with material having more impact, it causes a lot of misalignment to their calculation. The eye level and level sync system is originally designed alone by one dev that also made the item level or level sync system in Final Fantasy XI, Mr. Gondai. Mr. Gondai made the system and formula all by himself. What a giga chat. So for FF14, they also got him to do this. He is also currently the battle director. Gondai is still in the Final Fantasy XIV team and is still a core dev member. When Gondai made the item level and level sync system in 14, it was during a Realm Reborn, just so to get it ready for a Realm Reborn launch. Now, knowing this is a potential problem, he will bring it back to Gondai to see if they can fine-tune and optimize the level and item level sync system. Thanks, Zeno. Question number 9, which is the last question. I'm not sure who asked this as well. In the producer live letter 81, you stated that the discussions for the next expansion 8.0 had already started. Is Dawntrail the start of a new saga that will be continued into future expansions, or is it intended to be a standalone story? Yoshida said that they haven't decided if Dawntrail is going to be a long saga or not. When they made Heavensward, they didn't expect it to be a long saga that lasted until Endwalker. They were more focused on rebuilding FF14 at the start and just wanted to make sure that the game will be good and exist. It was one step at a time process, and they didn't think about how this will go up to 6.0. Therefore, if they say that to the higher ups during that time, that they will be going all the way to 6.0, the higher ups will be like, are you insane? At about end of 4.0 is when they started to think about Shadowbringer's story, and it can be bigger and continue into a finale. Throughout the Heidenreich and Zodiac saga, they did a lot of foreshadowing and sprinkled them in order to continue to see if they can paint a bigger picture. They will continue to do the same foreshadowing from 7.0 onwards. 7.0 onwards will be a new chapter and a new adventure after all. Depend on our reaction, once we reach the end of 7.x, they will decide where to go from there, step at a time process just like before. There are stuffs in 7.0 that will be exciting, but secretive, and he cannot say more. We will have to play to find out ourselves. They will study our reaction, see what we may like, and see how this saga will go. We are getting a summer vacation this time round, so maybe in the future we will be having a winter vacation? Therefore, instead of thinking if this is one long saga or not, let's just enjoy what's ahead of us in 7.0 first. And that's it for the Q&A session. The Q&A session was about an hour long, and Yoshida-san himself wished he could answer more questions. I tried my best to translate it and summarize some points to make it digestible, but can only do so much because Yoshida-san himself really spent a lot of time and thoughts answering every question in full. So it might be a little bit lengthy, so please forgive me. I'm just posting the questions and answer in this video and will not be doing any thoughts on the question or answers. I will most likely do them on my stream though. I'm also sure that there is a day 2 Q&A somewhere out there, and let me know if you guys have a link of it so that I can watch and react to it. Hope you guys drop a subscribe and leave comments below to let me know what you think. See you guys on my stream at twitch.tv/Arthars, and we can talk more about Dawntrail. Thanks so much for watching, guys.